Hey guys, this is KJ from The Scariest Movie Ever, and I had to make this video because I actually stumbled on this story earlier today in a forum online, and it really kind of blew my mind because this is right up my alley and the kind of stuff that I really like looking into. And that is the language of symbols all around us. If you're not familiar with my work or my channel, please check out some of my other videos sometime, and you'll see this is a subject I get into quite a bit, trying to understand the language of symbols all around us. In many respects, it's a spiritual language. It's of the occult, and that means hidden. So many of us believe that we're living at a time where the veil is being lifted, and we're finding more and more of these messages kind of coded in all different kinds of ways. And this right here, I think, is a perfect example. I know a lot of you out there like looking into stuff like this as well. So this is actually something we can all kind of do together. This is a new story. I just stumbled on it earlier today in a forum online, and somebody had put it up there and had mentioned the symbolism that's all over, and there is a lot of symbolism in here. So much so I haven't even really had a chance myself to fully dig into all this. So I just still want to make the video and put it up there. Near the end of this, I grabbed some closer shots of it, and I'm just going to let it play out and let you all kind of decide for yourself and look into it. Now again, this may be a new subject for you. You may not be familiar with the idea of symbols being language. It's out there. As I said, you can check out some of my work, just do some research on this, or just kind of go with the flow. Check out the comments underneath here and you'll start putting together the pieces. A really good example of this is right here. This is called I Pet Goat 2, and it came to us from Heliofont. And as you can see right here, it's pretty bizarre, kind of unusual. Is that George Bush up there? It absolutely is. And then that's kind of the Christ figure up there in the upper right hand corner. And then the other symbols there as well. If you're not familiar with I Pet Goat 2, alright, please check that out sometime. Just understand that even though it's an animation, it's definitely not just for kids. It's very deep. This really is the occult right here. This is a really good example of the so-called hidden mysteries being revealed to us, being put right out there. Oftentimes this can be seen as lesser magic. We call these people the Illuminati, the elite, the Brotherhood of the Fallen, whatever you want to call them, the people at the top of the pyramid. But essentially these people are witches. They are warlocks. This is spiritual language. So oftentimes they will reveal their plans before the plans take place. This is a form of lesser magic. It kind of includes the public into the spell without them even realizing they're involved in anything or that anything's taking place around them. Even right there in the name Heliofont, you have the I-O. You can see where that kind of stands out. There's several different interpretations. One can be the black sun, or another symbol for Saturn, back to Saturnalia worship, Satan. And then just while we're on the subject, I wanted to show you this one too, but right there in Fox, if you take a look at that O right there in the center, you can see that's not an O, that's an I. So right there in the Fox logo, we have the I-O. And this right here, of course, is another example of kind of that hidden knowledge, if you will, that's just come out over the last several years. But this is something that's really made the rounds, and it's the fact that Fox equates to 666. So here we have the I-O. We have the I-O again. And just in case there is still anybody doubting, just go to Mundo Fox, and right here you can see they're not shy at all about showing us the I-O. Here's another example. I actually did a video on this quite a while back. It's been maybe close to 2 years now, but this actually happened during a baseball game on television. As the game was being played on live television, these symbols kind of appeared for just a little bit and then disappeared. It was so obvious that the commentators had to address it. They even said something about it and made a joke about it being a spell. Then later on, a few days later, a friend of mine here on YouTube, Amerishima 2012, actually discovered that they admitted it was some kind of a spell they were putting out there, but they were acting like it was a big joke. Either way, there was a lot of symbols going on there, and people are still picking that one apart. We also get warnings of things to come from the elite or from the Illuminati or from the beast system, whatever label we want to put on that. Oftentimes we'll get it from the people involved themselves. This is Janet Napolitano. She was the outgoing Homeland Security Secretary just a few years ago. And she had this really ominous warning for her successor, warning of this massive and very serious cyber attack that would soon be happening in the U.S. homeland, and also of natural disasters, the likes of which the nation has never seen before. I covered this one as well. In fact, a lot of us did, but Matt Drudge actually released a couple of strange... But Matt Drudge, and this is the man behind the Drudge Report, which is right up there as the #1 internet source for the news. I mean, he's at the top of this game. Well, this guy actually released a few tweets that were kind of ominous themselves. You can see right here, survivors need to raise your spirituality, raise your integrity, raise your nutrition, raise your physical health, raise your consciousness, and then there's a few more down there. But it all seems like, what does Matt Drudge know, right? This guy's at the top of his game. He's got great connections and all kinds of insider information, I'm sure. So what does he know? And of course, he also told us all to have an exit plan. And of course, we can't really have a discussion about this occult language around us for the New World Order without bringing up the murals at the Denver International Airport. And now we have Obama. So this was a photo that was actually tweeted from the White House. This was a big deal. It was really out there. And of course, the official story is it was just a gag. So there's so many weird things around Obama. And a lot of you familiar with my channel know I've done many videos on him in the past, because I pick up on things from him too. And I'm not the only one. I know it's a real big and broad idea. I know a lot of people out there that have no idea about some of the things we talk about on my channel and even your channels out there. They're maybe a little more mainstream, but even these people are thinking Obama's like the last president or the Antichrist or there's something evil or there's something weird going on. People feel it. So with all that being said, of course, there's a number of ways to look at this picture. A lot of other people have picked this thing apart as well. He sits on an iron throne, and if you look in his lap, of course, he has the crown. So in one respect, he's just telling us that he really is the king. This is it. He's at the top. And we know that he's very liberal with his executive orders, and he essentially does what he wants. Just look at all the generals that have fallen under Obama, for one. We know that it's been kind of a takeover from the inside, and it's all coming out and being revealed to us now. So it's interesting he's on an iron throne. In some respects, it even harkens back to biblical prophecy. So it's definitely not an uncommon thought that Obama is America's last president. I've wondered that myself in many of my videos in the past, that is he going to be the last real president of America? I know a lot of you wonder about that as well, and we'll see. We still have a little bit of ways to go. Even beyond that, as I mentioned earlier, there's even a lot of really interesting supernatural things that have happened around Obama. So I'll read. This is Daniel chapter 2, verses 40 through 45. Verse 40. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom. Okay, now right there real quick, I just want to add, the fourth kingdom is the same thing as, sometimes in my videos I'll call it the fifth age, or the age of Aquarius, or we can call it the New World Order, the Antichrist system, the beast system, whatever. But it's the fourth kingdom also, the fourth and final kingdom, okay? So finally there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. Just as you saw that the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom, yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay. Lots of research on that subject as well. Okay, I've touched on that some. Jonathan Kleck's really big on that. It's kind of a mixing of the races. We can look back to Prometheus for an example of the fallen angels, the so-called aliens, still trying to interbreed with us, right, with God's kids, the children of God. Now, a lot of us believe that this is still happening on a lot of levels, so there are a lot of connections as well to that idea and this particular part of Daniel. I'll go ahead and continue. So it says, as the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands, a rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold to pieces. The great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. The dream is true, the interpretation is trustworthy. And that's the scripture. And that certainly adds a whole new dynamic to this image, doesn't it? Here's another example of one of those odd images with Obama. Now this image really kind of went viral. A lot of people were talking about this, but once again, you can kind of see the horns coming out of Obama's head, right? And that's just one part of this whole sequence that was strange. The point is we have the horns, right? So most people wouldn't see that, but knowing all the connections we have with Obama, the idea of him being the Antichrist, the strange satanic connections we find with him, well, it makes you wonder. Which brings us back to this picture from The Economist, the world in 2015. So much taking place in here. Here's what they actually wrote in a little article about this. They said, the world in 2015, the latest in The Economist's annual collection of predictions, identifies and explores the issues that will shape the year ahead. Prominent figures from politics, business, science, and the arts join journalists from The Economist and other leading publications in offering forecasts for 2015. Some of the highlights, they say Hillary Clinton, she's in there. Hillary Clinton focuses on closing the gender gap, while David Blaine reassures us that magic can still amaze. The thing that really stood out to me is the fact you have Obama right here in the center, waving with a smirk on his face, and on the right-hand side over there, which would be over his left-hand shoulder, but over there on the right-hand side of the magazine, you can see the atomic blast going off. And then directly behind him we have all these world leaders. All this stuff's going on, like I said, and there's plenty of things happening in between. But that's the main message I saw, was basically Obama waving goodbye to the world. Obama. The Iron Kingdom that crushes all. I mean, it makes you wonder, right? So a few other things I noticed in there. You'll see a guy is holding up a sign that says Singapore. There's like a panic poster with the Federal Reserve is in there. There's an 11.5 and 11.3, which makes me wonder, which immediately makes me think of an earthquake, of course. There's an ISIS type guy in the background. And of course, you've got the mushroom cloud. You can't forget that. There's a policeman with a mask. There's another person wearing, it looks like maybe a virtual reality type thing. Get the Pied Piper, of course. You know, maybe Obama leading the world to destruction. I mean, that's just one idea. There's a little ghost kind of right behind Obama. That's kind of strange. I thought maybe the Holy Ghost. You know, who knows? Possibly even the Antichrist spirit that dwells within the shell of Obama. That's another possibility, right? As I mentioned, you'll find Hillary Clinton in there. Bill Gates, big-time New World Order elitist. The Prime Minister of Italy, Matteo Renzi. And that's just a few things. I'm still looking at this. This is something that I just want to take my time with and really look at. It's interesting. And once again, this is a subject that a lot of us are really into, especially if you're into my channel. You know I cover this kind of stuff all the time. So it's very interesting and it makes me wonder. I mean, right here, just looking at the top right-hand corner, you've got the so-called peace sign. Once again, that is the V, right, for the fifth age or the fourth kingdom, right? So there's that. And of course we have Angela Merkel there doing her famous Illuminati sign, always holding her hands with the Illuminati pyramid or the diamond. It can also be seen as an as above so below representation, the diamond. It's the pyramid split in half, or a pyramid in front of a black mirror or a reflecting pool. Right there in the middle, just looking at that, it looks like that's a blonde lady right there in the back. with maybe a huge monarch butterfly or something on her forehead. I don't know. And of course, that would entail mind control or mind control, monarch programming. So just little things right there. Like I said, this is one of those I think we can really dig into. So check it out. I took some video of it, of some closer shots like this, composite, try to decipher it, whatever you like. But it'd be interesting to hear what you guys see in here as well, and I'll put a link underneath to the actual photo. It's definitely a puzzle. It's kind of a Where's Waldo for the so-called conspiracy set, I guess. But it should be fun, should be interesting, and have some fun with it and see what you can find. I know a lot of you out there are really into the study of symbols and symbolism and all that as well. So I look forward to hearing all of your thoughts on this. Thanks again for checking out the video. I'll talk to you soon.